We're on a 10-day camping trip, and day one we're stopping at Narrabri. It's very dry out western New South Wales, and this sign would be humorous if it wasn't so serious. It's been a long time since water's been in this river. It's been extremely unpleasant riding with strong side winds, and it looks like the same today as we head out of Narrabri heading towards Lightning Ridge. No peg scraping on this trip, just long straight stretches of road, with the odd diversion here and there for small towns. And the occasional excuse to play silly buggers with the drone, just to break the monotony. But you can call me a big goose, but there's something quite cathartic about riding a long straight stretch of road that goes out into the distance, even if you have to dodge tumbleweeds as you go. But today's a shorter day and we've finally reached Lightning Ridge, and we're glad to get out of the wind. And wimps that we are, we've decided to take a cabin for 2 nights as we stay here tomorrow, because the ground is rock hard and it's still blowing a gale, with dust coming through the camp. And yes, that's right, they give you a battery drill with a masonry bit in it to drill holes for your pegs if you're going to camp with a tent. Which is exactly what those people over there are doing right now. It's pretty chilly out, but we snuggle into our nice cabin as the sun sets into the west. It's a lazy day sightseeing at Lightning Ridge today, but first a dip into the nice hot springs. This is open 24/7 and available free. The water is normally about 40 degrees C, but this is first thing in the morning and it doesn't seem that hot. But it is so nice. Sorry about the nudity, looks like I'm ready for a training bra. The John Murray Gallery is definitely worth a visit. You can't film inside the gallery, but here's some examples that they've got outside. There are a number of self-guided tours that you can take that take you around the old part of the town, past various points of interest. Lightning Ridge is famous for its black opal, and it's still mostly mined by individuals holding small mining leases. So it has a bit of a Wild West feel, with quite relaxed building standards. 25 years ago we visited this castle and it's still not finished. But at least the owner's now charging a small entry fee, so he's getting some return on his investment. We're heading for Roma today. We've travelled through New South Wales heading north, and now we're heading into Queensland. So I guess we'll have to start talking a bit slower. Just for a change, there's a bit of straight road again. We're aiming for morning tea at Dirranbandy. But before we get there, we hit a very scary sight. A corner! Oh no, time to slow down! By going very slowly, we're able to negotiate this very scary phenomenon and arrive at Dirranbandy. Dirranbandy is where Les Norton comes from. Les Norton is a character out of the Robert Barrett novels and is currently a series on Australian television. This is probably the nicest bakery we stopped at on our whole trip, although it was a little pricey. The owner was Russian and the decor tended to show that. On the road again, and it's amazing how much better you feel after a bit of sugar and fat hit. Battling the wind at highway speeds certainly does take it out of an old couple, so health food is not the order of the day. We saw a turn off to a reservoir, so we thought we'd go down there. We hadn't seen much water so far. And yes, there's a bit of water sitting in the creek, but it's not running. But surely there's a lot of water on the other side of the dam wall. Whoops, no there isn't. So it's on the road again to put a few more miles under the tyres. Putting kilometres under them just doesn't sound right. It's easy to let fatigue creep up on you, so it's always a good idea to stop before you get too tired. And Wendy lets me have a nice little suck. From her camelback, that is. Yes, you guessed it, more straight road. But I love the look of the straight road just disappearing into the distance. And there's not a lot out the side either. But there are a few towns in between the straight roads that offer more chances to stop and have a bit of a relax. And this little town even had green grass. And, wow, a river with water in it. Getting close to Roma now and looking forward to stopping for the day. These road open signs are all about flooding. When it does rain, this open flat country can be quite inaccessible. Roma is a large regional town and the surrounding area grows a lot of cattle. But it's also famous for its bottle trees, which is impressive as they grow right along the streets. And here's a very good looking one. Tree and riding buddy. It's a short day again today. The wind is moderated and we're heading to our final northern destination of Carnarvon Gorge. We'll be staying 3 nights at Carnarvon Gorge before we start heading home again. The cattle are amazing. They just keep moving in the same direction. The drovers are kilometres back. We didn't ride any dirt roads on this trip, but this side road provided a photo opportunity. We're finally moving out of the flat country and into some hills and even mountains. The Carnarvon Gorge National Park is quite a large area, and the gorge itself is quite accessible. It's about 40k off the main road into where we're staying at the edge of the gorge at Takaraka. This is a pleasant country road and so we start taking our time, playing silly buggers with the camera and just generally relaxing. But while I was filming, we discovered a whole lot of emus running along the fence, and of course they keep pace with the bikes. After 5 days of riding straight roads, the odd curve is very exciting, even if it is only just a creek crossing. Here's the park that we're going to stay at, Takaraka, right on the edge of the gorge. It's set on the edge of the river. This river is fed by the gorge and runs year round. Very unusual for out here. The park is set in natural bushland and there's lots of trees and cycads growing in the park. We've got a pleasant spot with some shade. It's getting down to about 4 degrees C at night, but about 25 during the day. Perfect riding and camping weather. And here's a look at the park's famous resident. It's the end of day 5. Tomorrow we start exploring the gorge.